land of the Queen's ivory tower. An old man took revenge on the Queen by locking her family in a prison with inhuman guards. All that escapes the place are the prisoners' cries. For this archstone, we're actually given an event that occurred to give context to what we're about to visit, as opposed to a mere description of it, which is infinitely better in my opinion. Let's see how this world unfolds. There's Scurver again, looking so much cooler in the loading screen, as per usual. We start off in a damp, dark prison cell beside a rather interesting archstone in that it's being clutched in a death grip by a corpse. A single bell chime plays when we exit, an ominous note to welcome us into the prison proper. This first level has lots of cells that we can open up and look through, and we'll be searching quite a few of them. This gate to the side here is locked, so let's try the other path. This horrible squid-like monstrosity is a mind flayer of Dungeons & Dragons fame. Their range and damage can be an annoyance, but we'll get through them just fine. Beside it is a Prison of Hope, 3rd floor cell key.
Please, help me.
I don't know who just asked for help, and this is a Souls game, so I'm going to go ahead and pretend that I didn't hear that. Inside this cell that we can now open thanks to the key, we find useless pickups, also known as the starting gear we were already given for choosing Magician. That also makes this our 3rd wooden catalyst, I believe. Hooray! Much to our misfortune, the key found does not unlock the gate by where we loaded in, so let's continue down the other way, opening the cells simply because we can. This poor man. They tortured some collision detection right out of him. Not all prisoners are passive observers. These two buddies have just been itching for a shanking opportunity, and they got it. I'm glad that I was able to help them cross that off the old bucket list. We just picked up a new ore. While this ambushing mind flayer makes a poor attempt at a head-on approach, let's talk about it. Mercury stone is used to upgrade knives, curved swords, spears, and other similar weapons into the Mercury path, which adds poison damage to them. It functions kind of similarly to bleed. You may have noticed that enemy dropped Old Spice, which is that extremely effective MP regeneration item that we found before. World 3 is a magic character's paradise for numerous reasons. The high drop rate of Old Spice from Mind Flayers is just one of them. As you can see just from looking around, the place is a nightmare otherwise, so it's nice to have something to look forward to amongst the dreariness. The Royal Lotus is an item that removes poison from us should we be unfortunate enough to catch it. Say hello to another magic character delight, the Silver Coronet, a head armor piece that increases our maximum MP by 20% at the costly drawback of unequipping the nothing that we had on our noggin before. Honestly, the Mind Flayers have really interesting attacks. I'm sure you'll get the chance to see them soon. Man, I love that art too. Here we pick up another third floor cell key. This is a key labeled with just third floor, without a specific label for the cells. What say you to us heading back to the beginning and seeing if it opens up that gate? The Prison of Hope is extremely easy to get turned around in thanks to its grid-like setup. At least at first, everything looks the same. On my first playthrough, the only way I could tell if I had been somewhere before was if I found a dead body, and that turned out to be a very poor indicator, very fast. Success. Past the gate, we can navigate through a fog door and climb a pair of steps to reach. Another grid. Fantastic. Look at this little guy, by the way. I love him. I'll call him the Adoring Fan. Let's see how long he can follow us around for. Looks to be relatively clear in here. Was that a jump scare in a Souls game? Kind of yes and kind of no. It's the closest equivalent, but honestly, at least in my headphones, I find the noise the Iron Maiden makes to be quite pleasing to the ears. Curse my hubris. I was sure that I'd be able to get into that cell, completely blanking on the fact that this was no longer the third floor. It was fun to do all that damage at once, though. Oh hey, the cell is open. That's convenient. Oh gosh, that's the opposite of convenient. Seeing how they continue to stab at my flailing body as my character breathed his temporary last, I like to imagine that the dissipation of my soul form was kind of unexpected and they were reveling in the fact that they killed me so hard that I straight up disappeared. Prisoners trapped in these pots look so silly. But on a more substantial note, a prisoner dropped the S-Stock upon death, which was total news to me. The S-Stock is a lootable weapon in the same level later on, so I'm surprised that a drop of it was even available. Similarly to the wizard gear, this Iron Maiden in the first stage of World 3 also holds the Thief starter armor, which looks really sweet if you ask me. So sweet, in fact, let's throw it on right now, just to switch it up a little bit. It won't be our permanent armor, but it'll do for now. That sound is a bit more coarse. I disapprove. Surely the scare there was the fact that the prisoner has finally, after years in the Iron Maiden, mastered the art of levitation and safely stabbing the air next to a player's face. On the 4th floor, we get both the regular key and the cell key in one go, so let's head back and do some looting. All of these keys legitimately make me feel like I'm playing a section of an early survival horror game, and that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. Figuring out which key goes where is a little more self-explanatory with the naming of them than, say, an early Silent Hill game would be, but it's a neat little nod, if it's a nod at all. Like the hands of God, the claws are a fist weapon, and pretty neat, but ultimately not very optimal. Okay, please listen to me because this is extremely important. Don't tell anyone that I found the secret dagger. Shh. It's supposed to be a secret. This hole is no fun. I think the brightness of my recording doesn't do justice to showing just how easy it is to be caught unawares by this level. It's dark as hell, and being forced to plummet back down to the 3rd floor isn't a severe punishment, but it's pretty disorienting when you're still trying to get your bearings on the current floor. On this balcony is a really fantastic view of Latria. Disjointed towers practically falling over, no longer able to stand tall in the soil that once supported them, is pretty powerful imagery. Also, what looks like a spider's web blankets the distant sky. I'm pleased to say that we'll be seeing what that is firsthand. Singing as we progressed through this level. This woman is the source of it.
You're an ordinary human, aren't you? Where do you call home? Dear me, I shouldn't pry. Oh, perhaps you'd like something from my collection. I've had better days. I was once the wife of royalty, and I have some nice things to show for it.
Her shop offers full moon grass and the spices. She also sells moonlight stone, which we'll get to later. Holy crap, would you look at the price of the Ring of Avarice? You have to spend money to make money, I guess.
Before, there were many others trapped here, but they went mad and ventured above of their own volition. Redemption? There exists no such thing. The Queen banished her depraved old husband from the land. He returned in strange golden garb with foul demons in tow. They pillaged great Latria, land of the learned, and locked us in this dungeon. Since then, they've been feeding off our souls, telling us over and over that if we go above, we will be granted redemption. I know the truth. The church goddess may die, but never for long. And we are trapped below.
That was a first-hand eyewitness testimony to the brief story that the Archstone told us before we loaded in, leading us to believe that this noble was perhaps a close friend of the woman betrayed by the man. The most important things that you should remember from this were the man returning regeneration. Also keep the church goddess, dying, but never for long, in mind as well.
Thank you. Now I can stay here for a little while longer.
And she goes right back to singing. Thanks for the ambiance and the atmosphere, kind noble woman. That innocent prisoner was the most unfortunate casualty of my entire gaming career. The last thing I want to do was hurt that poor man, and look what I went and did with a single tap of my R1 button. For shame. We just got a shard of Moonlight Stone, which was available for sale from the noblewoman prior. This actually does the same as what our Crescent weapon does, which is add magic stat scaling. It's also more effective at this at higher upgrade levels, dishing out more magic damage than an equally upgraded Crescent weapon would. It doesn't offer any MP regeneration though, and it'd be a pain to try to convert our falchion, so we're fine with what we have for now. Ugh, this prisoner was much better at his job. Or worse, if you agree with my fan theory of levitation and weapon inaccuracy training. The magical ring of sharpness is a definite equip for us. It has the effectiveness of a fully upgraded crisp blade, which we found before Armor Spider, if you recall, which means it increases our magic attack power by 20% and lowers our defense by 30%. Magic defense, that is. Anyway, we'll head deeper into the prison in the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.